As with any sort of professional license, a mortgage loan originator must fulfill certain requirements to successfully apply for and be granted licensure. These include education hours, character assessment, and successfully passing the licensing exam. But what exactly are all of these requirements? In this video, we will explore the course requirements for MLOs in North Carolina. Let's start with the general requirements to apply for a mortgage loan originator license in North Carolina. You will need to be at least 18 years old to apply. Next, you will need to make sure that you have completed the 24 hours of required pre-licensing education. It's important to note that you will need to remember that these course hours expire 3 years after completion. Such being the case, you will need to make sure to complete and submit your application within 3 years of passing these courses. Finally, you will need to take and pass the National Mortgage Loan Originators exam with uniform state content as required by the SAFE Act. Now that you know what you will need to complete for your application, let's have a look at each item individually. Let's look in depth at the education requirements that are necessary for you to complete prior to applying for your North Carolina MLO license. First, per North Carolina General Statute, you will need to complete a 20-hour pre-licensing course. This course must be taken through an NMLS-approved North Carolina mortgage education provider. The 20 hours of pre-licensing education covers a number of topics, including federal laws, ethics, especially regarding fraud, consumer protection, and fair lending practices, non-traditional mortgage lending, and general mortgage industry-specific topics. In addition, you will be required to complete a 4-hour North Carolina-specific mortgage law course. Following completion of these education requirements, you will have 3 years to then apply for your MLO license. If you fail to complete and submit your application before the 3 years are up, you will have to complete them again. Let's look at the details of the national section of the SAFE Mortgage Loan Originator exam first. This section consists of 120 total multiple choice questions, with 5 being pretest questions that are scattered throughout. Pretest questions are not counted towards your passing score and are added to help evaluate questions that will possibly be counted on the exam in the future. These questions are selected to appear randomly throughout the exam. You will not be able to tell which questions are scored and which are being considered pretest questions. You will have a total of 190 minutes to complete the test. A test fee of $110 must be paid when scheduling your test appointment. Per mandates set forth in the SAFE Act, the minimum passing score for all SAFE MLO tests is 75%. Now that we know about the composition of a test, let's go over how to schedule and take it. As with most things, you will need to begin by logging into your NMLS account. Once you are signed into your account, you will need to register and pay for a testing window, which can be accessed through the MLO Testing and Education tab. It is important to remember you cannot schedule a specific appointment to take your test without first registering for a testing window. Once your testing window request and payment has been accepted, NMLS will notify you that your 180-day testing window is open, and you may now schedule to take your exam. In this 180-day testing window period, you will need to complete the candidate agreement schedule, and then take your test at your designated day and time. Your $110 test fee will be paid when you schedule your testing appointment. Don't forget that payments for the test will not be accepted at the testing center. All payments must be submitted through NMLS. But where will you take your test? The majority of safe MLO tests are conducted in person at Prometric test centers. Prometric testing locations in North Carolina are located in Raleigh, Charlotte, Greensboro, Greenville, and Asheville. A list of all Prometric testing sites nationwide may be found at prometric.com/NMLS. If none of these locations are convenient to you, you may request to complete the test online through Prometric ProProctor, an official online test proctoring system. For this option, you will need to ensure that you have access to an area with a dependable internet connection where you can be visible via camera and audible through a microphone. You must also be sure that you will not be disturbed by others while taking your test. Detailed information on Prometric ProProctor online testing guidelines, prohibited items, and required technical specifications, including operating systems, internet upload and download speeds, and audio-video requirements, are also located on prometric.com/NMLS. You've completed your test. When will you know if you have passed? Per NMLS guidelines, a student that has taken their test in person at a Prometric testing center will be presented with a printed score report prior to leaving the testing location. It is important to remember that this score report given at the test center is not made official until the test results have been posted in NMLS. Those taking their test through Prometric ProProctor will receive their official results report within 3 business days. It will then be sent directly to the email address provided at the time of appointment scheduling. You may be asking yourself if your test results can expire like your course credit hours. The answer is yes. If you have passed the National Mortgage Loan Originators exam, but then do not conduct any business in the mortgage field at any time for 5 continuous years, your test scores will expire. If this happens, you will need to complete both the education requirements, testing, and license application before conducting any mortgage industry business. As you can see, there are a number of requirements for your MLO license application. After completing your 24 hours of NMLS-approved provider education and passing the National Safe MLO test, you will be ready to take the next step and finally submit your application for the license that is the key to your new career as a North Carolina mortgage loan originator.